Hello and welcome to my first video. I'm Runner King and I had an idea for a video using Civilization 6 and AI. I want ChatGPT to play Civilization 6 and I will follow every command that it gives me. Now I will type into ChatGPT everything that's happening in the game. I'm not going to submit screenshots, I'm just going to type what's happening, what the situation is, and then ask what it will do next. And to start off, I have created a prompt in ChatGPT saying, you, ChatGPT, want to start a new game of Civilization 6. You have a desire to win the game, but want a challenge as well. How do you want the game set up? What difficulty? Which leader? What map conditions, like size, map type, and number of players? What will be your overall strategy? What game speed? Would you add any more game modes? Any other settings before starting? Let's see what it says. Alright, the prompt is finished and it says, to create a challenging and enjoyable game of Civ 6, here's how I'd set up the game. Difficulty level Immortal. Immortal difficulty offers a significant challenge, providing AI opponents with substantial advantages without making the game feel insurmountable. Leader choices. Shaka of the Zulu. Sounds like we're going domination. Shaka's unique abilities make him a formidable opponent in the mid to late game, particularly with his military advantages. This choice will also make the game more dynamic and interesting. The map conditions. Map size standard. A standard map balances having enough space to expand with the opportunity for interaction with other civilizations. Map type fractal. A fractal map provides unpredictable landmasses and continents, making exploration and strategy more complex and engaging. Number of players 8, including myself. This setting ensures a competitive environment with a balanced number of rival civilizations. Game speed standard. Standard speed offers a balanced pace, allowing for thoughtful strategy and planning without the game feeling rushed or dragged on. Now, game modes. Heroes and Legends adds unique units with special abilities that can turn the tide in wars or provide significant advantages. Wow, looks like they want all of the game modes. Secret societies, dramatic ages, and barbarian clans. Other settings, no game turn limit, that's normal. Disaster intensity 3 out of 4, wow. Level creates a challenging environment with natural disasters playing a significant role in planning and adaptation. Now, overall strategy, early game. Exploration, focus on exploring quickly to find city-states, natural wonders, and good city locations. Utilize scouts and early units to map out terrain and meet other civilizations. Okay. Expansion, prioritize building settlers to expand aggressively and secure strategic resources. Military buildup. Develop a strong early military to defend against barbarian raids and to secure territory from rival civilizations. The mid-game. Wow. Early game, mid-game, and late game. Strategies. Domination focus. Capitalize on Shaka's military bonuses to provide a powerful army. Use the unique MP units and course armies formations to dominate rival civilizations. Infrastructure. Develop infrastructure in conquered and new cities to support the war effort and strengthen the economy. Alliances and diplomacy. Form strategic alliances and friendships to secure trade routes and avoid multi-front wars. And the late game, tech and culture. Balance military pursuits with advancements in technology and culture to ensure overall progress. Strategic wars. Continue leveraging military strength to target weaker or strategically important civilizations. Victory push. Depending on the game's progress, pivot towards a domination victory while maintaining a backup plan for science or culture. Additional considerations, city planning, focus on optimizing city placement for maximum production and strategic value. Resource management, ensure a steady supply of strategic resources to support military units. Flexibility, be prepared to adapt strategies based on in-game developments and AI behavior. By setting up the game this way, it should provide a robust challenge with plenty of strategic depth and opportunities for engaging gameplay. Alright, so now we're in Civ, so let's go to Create Game. In advanced setup. So he said pick Shaka of the Zulu. Now Shaka is very military based. His unique district is the Ikanda, which replaces the encampment. His main trait is may form corps, mercenary civic, and armies, nationalism civic earlier. An additional 5 base combat strength to both corps and armies, so we want to get those up soon. He has a unique unit which replaces the pikemen in the medieval era. which is cool. The Impy. And then the Zulu trait. Cities with a garrison unit get +3 loyalty per turn, or +5 if it is a corps or army. Oh, interesting. Conquering a city with a unit will upgrade it into a corps or army. Interesting, if the proper civics are unlocked. Interesting, so we want to focus on conquering cities with non-cores. Huh. So basically we want to keep producing lower units to have free upgrades to them. And more combat strength to corps and armies. Cool. ChatGPT said, Immortal difficulty. I guess Ancient Era start. Standard game speed. We're going to say the map size, he said standard. For 8 players, which would give us 12 city-states, but ChatGPT said turn up the disaster intensity to 3. So that'll be interesting. Guessing leave all the resources, world age, temperature, all standard. We'll leave it on standard start position, but ChatGPT said to turn on barbarian. Let's check again. Heroes and legends, secret societies, dramatic ages, and barbarian clans. Wow. Barbarian clans, dramatic ages, heroes and legends, secret societies. I don't play with dramatic ages very often, but that should be interesting to see what ChatGPT does with it. And then all the victory conditions, but no turn limit is what it wanted. It looks like everything settings-wise that ChatGPT wanted, so we'll start the game and see what it gives us.
From the first stirrings of life beneath water, to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest. From this early cradle of civilization, on towards the stars. Clever Shaka, king of the Zulu, your soldiers shall win you an empire. The Impi warriors at your command outflank and outfight all who oppose them. The unyielding Zulu armies will prove your strength lies in numbers. You need not war with every neighbor, but let them think you might.
Cool introduction. Love that voice. And that actually kind of gave a little hint. If I were to play Shaka by myself, to prove your strength lies in numbers, but I need not war with every neighbor, but like make them fear that I might, to kind of intimidate them. That's very interesting. Alright, so here's our starting location. From what I can see is we're on a floodplains near river, which means fresh water. We have some bonus corn as well as some stone. We have 2 luxuries in marble and also the diamonds up there. Another bonus rice, a little bit of woods. So looking like lots of food. If we can get these up quickly, that would be production from mines. Some hills over here for mines as well, but lots of floodplains. And looks like it's giving us 2 different rivers here and here. Very interesting, as well as another river up there. Wow. And then that looks like a delta up there. So let's head back over to ChatGPT and type in what we can see. Alright, so we've typed into ChatGPT here. You spawn into the world with a settler and warrior. The starting location looks to be very fertile with lots of floodplains and rivers. There are marble and diamond luxuries a bit far away with some bonus resources of stone, maize, and rice. What are your starting moves? Move the warrior and where to settle. Let's see what it says. Okay, it gave a long response. Here we go. Given the fertile starting location of floodplains, rivers, and a good mix of luxury and bonus resources, here are the optimal starting moves. Assessing the starting location, rivers and floodplains. These provide fertile land, ideal for strong food production and future district bonuses, especially for farms. Resources, stone and rice, immediately boosts to production and food. Marble and diamonds, strategic luxury resources that are a bit far, but worth expanding towards. Starting moves, move the warrior. Scout the immediate area. Move the warrior to a hill or forested area if available, as this provides a better view of the surrounding area. This will help determine if there are better nearby locations for the initial city. Direction. Prioritize moving towards the unseen areas to the north, south, east, or west, depending on what direction looks the most promising for future expansion or additional resources. Okay, so let's start with this, moving the warrior. And it continues talking about settler placement and then detailed consideration. Oh, here's more about the warrior. If the warrior is on flat terrain, move to a hill or forest hill to maximize visibility. For example, if there's a hill 2 tiles away that offers a good vantage point, move there first. If not, explore in a direction that seems promising based on visible resources. Okay, and this talks about initial builds, research. Okay, so we'll move the warrior and then come back to read the settler instructions. Alright, so here's the warrior. The blue lines are its range. So it said to move, if possible, to a 2 tile away hill. There isn't one that it can move to 2 tiles away. This is the only forested hill. This is floodplains. That's just rainforest plains. So we're going to move to this one because it said to move to a forest hill to try and explore. All it did, looks like it revealed another cotton luxury resource, as well as another stone, and just a continuation of this river. Interesting. Alright, let's head back and read what it said about the settler. Okay, the settler placement. Settle in place or 1 tile adjustment. Given the description, it is likely best to settle in place to take immediate advantage of the fertile land. However, consider moving the settler 1 tile if it places you directly on river. I think we are already on a river. It includes more immediate resources within the initial city radius. Well, we could move closer to one of the 2 luxuries, but we are close enough to the bonus ones that I don't know if that'll help. It avoids settling on a resource that would be more valuable improved, like stone or rice. So it wants to avoid settling on these resources. Okay, I think where we're at, it doesn't settle on them, it settles next to them still. Okay, detailed consideration. On a river. Settling directly on a river is highly advantageous for early growth and housing benefits. Ensure your city is on the river. Immediate resources. Ensure initial city tiles include a mix of food and production to accelerate early growth and construction. Okay, so we have bonus resources that would do both. We are a little short on production until we get those stone quarries online, but we can do that. Avoiding floodplains for the city center. While floodplains are excellent for farms, the city center should ideally not be a floodplain to avoid potential flood damage, unless you have access to early flood protection. So, that's an interesting one. Based on where we are now, we should avoid the floodplain. But, if we look, all the tiles next to the rivers, except for some of these hills, these are all floodplains. So in order to avoid those, we'd have to move here, but it says to only take a 1 tile move. So we could go to this jungle, but that would be off river. Based off my initial look, it would probably be best to either settle in place or maybe move down to just get one of these within the second ring of the city. And that would allow settling up here to grab this in our second city. And this one in our third city, and this one in third city, or fourth city. Interesting situation, and nothing that would decide exactly what we should do as our move. I think we should put in another prompt into ChatGPT to see what it says. But let's finish reading first what else it says about settling. Settler move. Initial settling. If you're already on or adjacent to a river with visible floodplains and the described resources within the first or second ring, settling in place is usually best. Okay. And then the 1 tile adjustment. If moving 1 tile towards a river, settling directly on a river, towards immediate resources. Resources like stone and rice. We're already close. We're on the river. So based off this, we probably won't move, but I'll run another prompt to see. And then we'll go back and look at all this initial research and building after we've decided where to settle. So I'll write up another prompt here and we'll see what it wants to do. Alright, so I've typed in here, there are no hill tiles to move to within a one tile adjustment. All the spaces next to rivers are floodplains. On the current tile, the bonus resources of maize and stone would be within 1 or 2 rings of the city center. However, the luxury resources would all be on the 3rd ring. Do you want to settle in place or move the settler? Alright, it's responded. Given the information that there are no hills to move the warrior to within a one-tile adjustment and all spaces next to rivers are floodplains, settling in place seems like a strong option. Okay, so I think it took it as that the warrior wouldn't move. Okay, so I've rewritten it now to say, the warrior moved and revealed more of the surrounding area, including a cotton luxury in the distance. There are no hill tiles to move the settler to within a one-tile adjustment. All the spaces next to rivers are floodplains. On the current tile, the bonus resources of maize and stone would be within 1 or 2 rings of the city center. However, the luxury resources would all be on the 3rd ring. Do you want to settle in place or move the settler? And it says, given the new information and considering the revealed resources and terrain, here's a detailed decision process. Current situation analysis. Current tile, fertile with floodplains adjacent to rivers. Nearby resources, immediate within 1 2 rings, maize and stone. Luxury and 3rd ring, marble, diamonds, and cotton. The cotton's not, but that doesn't matter right now. Key considerations. Floodplains benefits. High food yield, which supports rapid early growth. Proximity to rivers with fresh water and potential adjacency bonuses for districts. Immediate resources, maize and stone. Yeah, early for population growth, good for early production. Luxuries, although they are in the 3rd ring, luxuries like marble, diamonds, and cotton are valuable for happiness and trade but might require some early expansion or cultural border growth. Yeah. Settling on floodplains. While floodplains can be a risk due to flooding, the benefits of early growth and the fertile land usually outweighs the risks, especially if you plan to unlock and build flood barriers later in the game. I wonder if it meant dams for that. Decision. Oh, good. Settle in place. Given that the immediate tile yields, floodplains are high. Access to stone and maize ensures a balance of food and production. Luxury resources can be accessed through border growth or early expansion with a 2nd city. There are no hill tiles for a one-tile adjustment. Immediate plans settle in place. This will take immediate advantage of the fertile land and ensure a strong start with access to food and production resources. Initial build, scout, monument, and builder. That's a good starting build order. Initial research, pottery, mining, irrigation. Okay, for this kind of information, we'll probably just do another prompt to ask what do you want to start your production with, and then we won't use like a queuing system. When something finishes, we'll just ask it what it wants to build next. Same thing with like the research and culture trees. Long-term strategy. Expansion. Plan for a 2nd city near the luxury resources, marble, diamonds, cotton, to secure them quickly. Okay, so that's probably our first goal that we'll go for, and then for these first few turns, what we're going to do is we're going to ask it what it wants to do on that turn. We'll tell it if any productions or research finished, and then what to queue up next. We'll probably have to keep reminding it that it needs to stick to a strategy, or if it wants to change the strategy, or keep asking what it wants to do. I feel like it will change ideas a lot, but hopefully by staying on this one chat thread, we can keep the same ideas and plans going. All other long-term strategies it has is infrastructure, focus on building infrastructure for growth and production, robust early military. So basically it wants to do everything all at once. By settling in place, you can immediately start leveraging the fertile land, settling a strong foundation for future expansion and strategic development. Okay, so I think we have our decision to settle in place. So I'll do that, and then I'll ask it what to queue up for production, research, and it won't be our civic yet. Alright, so we're going to settle in place. Air score. Now I'll type out a prompt to decide what to queue up for our production and what to pick for our first research. Alright, so short prompt here. Your first city has been settled. To follow your plan, what should be queued to be produced in the first city? What should be the first tech to research? Alright, here's the response. Given the plan and the details of the starting location, here are the first production and research choices. Initial production queue, Scout, Monument, Builder. An initial research choice, Pottery. For granaries and managing early population growth. Okay. Detailed plan, first production is the Scout. Okay, good. We're not going to follow exactly what it says here. We're going to keep asking it what it wants to pick, especially in the early game, when decisions are so important and it's the only thing that we have to worry about. Later in the game, when there's so much to do, we probably will take more of these detailed plans for queuing up productions in cities or queuing up researchers. But for now, we're going to keep asking it as soon as it finishes, or even every turn if it wants to switch, or with any new information that comes up in the game. So first research, it wants Pottery. For the granary, early population growth, and then it says it can go to mining and irrigation, but we'll ask it when it comes up. So first production, Scout, and Pottery. So we'll queue those up in games. It'll take 8 turns to build the Scout. I don't know why it shows a monument up there. I may even ask if it wants to change around our citizens. Right now we're working 2 food, 1 production. That's actually the best tile we have right now, so I'll just keep it. But as part of my next prompt for the next turn, I might ask it to keep in mind that we should change our citizens around if needed, change production or science or food focuses. I also need to prompt it if we want to make any new deals, and I do have some UI mods like the Quick Deals mod, Envoy Quests mod, and then when city states come up, we will ask it oh, the city state appeared, or what does it want to do with envoys, how should it spend its gold or faith. Let's go ahead and queue up our research here. It wanted to pick Pottery as the starting research. If we click on the tech tree, that's actually a really good one to start into writing and irrigation. Hopefully we can meet another civilization. We'll keep asking it where it wants to move the warrior, so hopefully we can get some exploration. And then based off how the game goes and new information, we'll keep asking it what it wants to do with the techs and civics. So that's been our first turn. I won't quite hit next turn yet. That'll be in the next episode. I'm Runner King, and we're back in this game with Shaka, our leader, and we are just ending our first turn. In the last episode, I explained how this game is going to work. We're going to input prompts into ChatGPT without using any images. That way I can kind of filter the information that goes in, and we can control what the actions are going to be, because I feel like it's going to be a lot. Last turn, we moved the warrior, we queued up Pottery as our research, and we queued up a Scout as our production. For these first 5 turns or so, I'm going to input as much information as I feel like, and we're going to take every action from ChatGPT, and then I'm going to start filtering it because a lot's going to happen. We're going to have lots of actions that we need to be performing, and especially on turns when all we're doing is hitting next turn, I'm not going to input anything. We're just going to hit next turn. We're going to wait till something happens in game, like a decision needs to be made, or I probably won't even do every single warrior move. I'm probably eventually just going to say, how should I be moving the warrior? What are we searching for? I'm not going to ask it exactly where to move it because it's not going to know without a picture. But I am going to ask it for every time it needs a new production, every time it needs new research and civics, and then if there's anything diplomacy-wise or any other decisions that need to be made, I will ask it for those decisions. And then we're going to judge hard its decisions to see how this game is going to go, and hopefully we can get some funny actions being taken by the AI. So, first things first, we're going to hit next turn. I don't expect much to happen, so The only thing this turn, I believe, we're going to be moving the warrior, so I will ask ChatGPT what the action is going to be. Alright, we're back here in our old thread, and I've queued up this prompt first. Remember to review past information in this prompt thread when making decisions and giving responses. And I'm going to type a bit more about what we want the warrior to do, but I want it to always remember to go back to read through all the information, and hopefully it'll give a more dynamic decision making, because sometimes we are going to want to stop queuing some productions or change our research focus based off new information that happens. And I'll ask it if it wants to do that or not, but we'll see. Alright, so then I added on here, on the second turn, warrior needs to move. What should it be focusing on while it moves? Let's see what it'll say. Alright, I'm not going to read everything that it says on here, but you can pause and read through. Basically, what it's saying is it's going through what we've done so far. Here's the warrior's objectives. It wants to, first off, explore, secure the borders. Possibly eliminate barbarian encampments, focusing on meeting city-states and other civilizations. So I think if we see them, I'm going to move towards them. It also talks about some of the more in-depth strategy right here. Prioritizing moving to tiles that provide the best visibility, such as hills or forests. Identifying strategic resources and city locations. Cool. And then it says generally to move towards the cotton to identify potential city sites. And it says to move the warrior towards the cotton, aiming for a tile with hill or elevated terrain. So that's what we're going to do. So moving this warrior towards this new cotton, there's no hills, so I'm probably just going to move it directly onto it, is what it says. Looks like there's a desert down here, but we're going to hit next turn. Alright, so it's moved, and I think again this turn, the only thing that we're going to do is move this warrior. So based off the information that it already gave, we're just going to move the warrior around and hit next turn a bit, just to reveal some of this unknown territory and looking for settling spots around this cotton, is what it said. So on this third move, it said to focus on moving to tiles with better visibility. So instead of moving it this way to reveal it this way, it said to move it onto the tile like hills to give it better visibility. And it revealed a tribal village. So I'm probably not even going to ask ChatGPT. I'm just going to hit next turn and move on to that. Oh. Wow, okay. So a lot just happened. First off, we discovered a secret society, Owls of Minerva, and which also gave us a governor's charge. So we're going to use that soon. So we can use it on a governor, or we can have it pick the Owls of Minerva. So we're going to have to go to ChatGPT to help us decide. Looks like we met Taruga, which is a city-state bonus. Pretty good science bonus for becoming the suzerain there. Looks like we got first meets on both of them. We also met Singapore. That gives a pretty good production bonus for trade routes that we have if we're the suzerain. We get these bonuses right now. +1 production in the capital, +1 science in the capital. That's awesome. So that'll help us grow and research faster. So right now we're going to go back to ChatGPT and ask it what to do with all this new information. Alright, so here's my prompt I wrote. At the start of turn 5, the warrior has revealed some surrounding area. On this turn, 2 city-states were met, Taruga and Singapore. The secret society of Owls of Minerva was revealed, giving us a governor title. What action should be taken this turn? Should the governor title be used or saved? If used, what governor? Let's see what it says. So here's what it wants to do. It wants to utilize the governor title, and then it goes over the options. Pingala, Magnus, Amani, or Owls of Minerva. Those are the exact ones that I was thinking about taking. Pingala is really good, Magnus is good, and then Amani for city-states. So recommended governor, Pingala. Powerful leader in the early game, very basic choice, very safe choice. Yeah, just basically maximizing technology and civic bonuses. So it wants us to appoint Pingala in the capital. It wants us to continue moving the warrior, basically just to continue doing what we're doing, revealing stuff. And here's the summary. So appoint Pingala, continue to move the warrior, and then it even says continue building scout and continue researching pottery. So let's do that. Back in the game, we're going to just move the warrior onto the tribal village. Alright, cool. Gave us one new pop. That's awesome. What's it going to give to us? probably the best tile. We don't have a great first ring. The second ring's better with the 2-2 here, 2-2. Hopefully we can grow to the diamonds pretty quick. Our pop growth is pretty slow, so is our production. It says it's going to grow to the maze soon, which is good. I would almost rather it move to this one. We do need to get a second city up soon. So as part of my next prompt, I'm going to tell it that our first string of tiles is not great for working citizens in our city. And it will probably just tell me work the best tiles, which I'm already doing. And then I'm going to ask it if it wants me to buy tiles or just let natural tile growth happen, because we need to use our gold. Probably can't afford scouts or monument or anything yet. The only thing we probably could afford soon would be tile purchasing. Here in a couple turns. We probably don't have anything to sell. Well, we can't even, because we haven't met anyone. There's nothing we can really do with the city-states with gold yet. So I guess we'll just keep doing what it said. Let's appoint the governor of Pingala in the capital. It'll take 5 turns to establish. And we'll hit next turn. Okay, I'm just going to keep moving the warrior and exploring based off ChatGPT's instructions. Mostly moving on to hill tiles if they're available, because it said to do that. So instead of moving this direction, I'm going to move on to the hill tile to get more visibility. Okay, start of turn 7. We had a scout appear out of the fog of war, which means a barbarian encampment likely somewhere over here. And even worse, it spotted my city, so it's going to start spawning units to annoy me, basically. So I think it's time for ChatGPT prompt. I'm going to ask it what it wants to do with gold. Ask it if it should continue exploring with the warrior or if it wants to move back for protection. Alright, so here's the next prompt I've written. On turn 7, a barbarian scout appeared on the right side of the city. It spotted the city and now returned to its encampment. What should be done? It will take 4 turns for the warrior to return to the city. I went back to the game and measured how long it would take. What should be done? 40 gold is owned and is growing by 5 each turn. Should it be used? The first string of tiles around the city are weak and the city is at 2 population. I've just basically told it the basic information about our city and the situation. Hopefully it'll give us an idea of what to do about the scout. Alright, so here's its response. I've read through this and it's actually pretty impressive, but we will need to make another prompt to get clearer and more detailed decisions of what to do now. So basically it just goes over the what's happening right now. Immediate defense by a unit. We don't have the gold for that, but so I'm going to ask it what we should do, or if we should wait, and tell it how much it will cost. Warrior movement, it says to return to city, so I'll queue that up. I think I will just queue up the 4 direct return to the city center. City production. Shift production. If the scout being built is nearly completed, let it finish. Otherwise, consider switching production to another military unit if the slinger alone won't suffice. So I'm going to go back and look and see how many turns, and as part of the next prompt, I'll tell it how many turns and then if it wants to switch. So detailed steps, it says buy a slinger. I'll ask it what to do about that based off how much gold we have and how much it will cost. Reduct warrior, I can do that. I'll do that right now. And then production focus. So then it says the next steps: explore and eliminate. After handling the immediate threat, locate the barbarian encampment, and then tile improvement with builders. That's pretty far in the future, but we can do that. Buy a slinger, redirect the warrior, continue production, or switch to a military unit. So back in this game, what we're going to first do is queue up this warrior to head straight back to the city center in 4 turns. Oh, there's 1 turn left on the scout. So we'll probably let that finish, but I'll double check. Then we'll check here to see how long it will take by using production and gold to produce new units. So warrior will take 8, slinger will take 7 turns, and then with gold, slinger's 140. We only have 40. Warrior's 160. We definitely don't have that and won't have that for a while. So I'm going to write another prompt and see what ChatGPT wants to do. Alright, I've written here, the 40 gold is insufficient to buy any units. Slingers cost 140 gold and warriors cost 160. The scout will finish next turn. Should production be shifted now or next turn? So let's see what it says. Alright, given that the gold is insufficient to buy a unit, the scout will finish next turn. Here's a revised strategy. So finish the scout. Since the scout will finish, it's most efficient to complete it. Then ship production to military unit. Then ship production next turn. Switch production to slinger or warrior. So we need to ask it which one. Finish the scout. Ship production next turn. Redirect warrior. Yep. Okay, done with that, and then we'll do that. So we'll do that and then see if there's anything else that happens next turn before we write the next prompt. And then here's more of the next steps, summary of actions. Okay, so back in the game. We will let the scout finish producing and then queue up our next production, which we will ask ChatGPT what to do with next turn. Okay, here we go. So we need to ask it what it wants to do with the scout. Most likely scout. Probably those same kind of instructions it gave for the warrior. But we need to ask it what it wants to queue up for production, and that party will be completed next turn. So I think in the same prompt, I'll ask it what it wants to do with that. Alright, here's the next prompt. The warrior is moving back to the city and production was completed on the scout. Where and how should it move? What should be queued next to produce? The pottery tech will finish next turn. What should be queued? Alright, here's its response. Here's a detailed strategy. So scout movement. Objective. The scout should prioritize exploring nearby areas to identify potential threats, such as the barbarian encampment that the scout is returning to, and uncover valuable resources and locations for future cities. Okay, good. And it gives that idea of exploring the encampment. So recommended moves. Hopefully it gives me what it actually wants to do specifically. These are just the recommended moves, and you can pause and read through those. So next production, queue a slinger. Okay, good. Slinger is cheaper and quicker to produce than the warrior, provides range defense. That's actually a good pick. Probably what I'd pick. And even more so because if you get a kill with the slinger, you get the boost for archery. Research queue, current tech, pottery, completing next turn. Next tech to research, mining irrigation. Gives some reasons that you can read through. Detailed action plan, scout movement, city production, research progression, summary of actions, yada yada yada. The only thing I think we need to pay attention to is once pottery is completed, start researching mining to unlock resource improvements and enhance early production. Cool. So let's head back to the game and do all that. So first off, let's queue up the slinger like it said to do. It'll take 7 turns, which is normal. Next, let's think about the scout. So it gave the idea of moving to try and find the barbarian encampment, which we're guessing is over here, or to explore. If this is a hill, I'll move there. It's not. So I think we could move down to here, which is kind of in that direction, and then move across to these hills next turn, and also it will reveal what's over here. So I think here's the best tile to move to. It crosses the river also, which is good. Alright, we still have one movement, which we probably won't use. And then next turn, we'll move on to one of these 2 hills with the scout. The warrior is moving back, and party will be completed next turn. And it's said to queue up mining. Code of Laws is taking a long time because of our low culture, but hopefully Pingal will help that once he's fully established. So next turn here.
I thought Clay must
pottery
feel
gets
happy.
completed. Nothing else happened, so let's queue up mining like it said to do. It will take 6 turns. The scout needs to move. It can actually move over here, which is interesting. We can save the movement cost across the river. And I think that's a better idea, but I'll move here first, and then that way. And we'll end the turn. Okay, no barbs are appearing yet. I think the only thing to do is move the scout, which I think the best move would be to onto one of these 2 hills to hopefully reveal the barbarian encampment, which is also following what ChatGPT said to do. So 1 tile at a time. Okay, there's the scout. That's interesting. So the encampment looks like it's farther away than what we even thought. Maybe even out here. We'll keep moving the scout and hopefully gaining some experience to level it up as well. Okay, so turn 11, it says a new barbarian outpost was detected. Down to the left, also pretty close. Hopefully Taruga will head down that way, or maybe another civ over here. But remember, we have Barb Clans mode on. So we can even try buying units, warrior, cheaper than normal. I don't usually do either of these 2 unless I have a ton of extra gold. I usually just buy the warriors because they're cheaper, or buy whatever unit is here. I wouldn't mind if that flips either. It is encroaching on our land, so it will depend on what's happening over here. If there's a civ or something that we need to worry about. But because that's in the desert, it's not great land tiles anyway. And we're planning to put a city here, which could actually be a problem. We need to get that city up fast. I think I'm only going to do 1 more turn in this episode, and we'll save the big invasion for the next episode. Alright, so now that the warrior's back in the city center, but units still aren't here from the barbs, I'm not sure exactly what to do, so we're going to have to ask ChatGPT if it wants to garrison or move out in the direction of it. I also need to let ChatGPT know about this barbarian encampment and that we have not found this one yet. And we are back in our game with Shaka, our leader, the Zulu Empire. We're starting on turn 11, so we're going kind of slow here, and we need to speed this up. Remember last episode, we finished research on pottery and we queued up mining. And hopefully this episode we can start plugging in some of these policies. First and foremost, we need to think about our unit movements. Remember last episode we had a scout come and find us and discover us, and he ran off into this fog of war on our right side, so we need to figure out what we're doing with that to defend. We discovered this barbarian encampment, which is encroaching on our land. So we either need to come settle or clear that, but we'll probably have to deal with this one first. Hopefully we can meet some more civs and figure out what we're doing next. So, remember back, this was our ChatGPT queue, and we plugged in our current situation, and it told us about our scout movements to queue up a slinger, to start working on mining. And one thing I was noticing was that as part of this scout movement, it says to move the scout in the opposite direction of the returning warrior, prioritizing high visibility terrain. So, back in our game, we should be moving this scout back to where our warrior was scouting before. So, knowing that movement, I'll probably start moving it down this way. But we need to ask ChatGPT where to move this warrior. And I'm not going to ask it every single movement. I'll probably just say it's return to the city. Should we move it out to approach the encampment, or should we hold it to garrison? Or we have a slinger producing in 4 turns, so that's a bit more defense incoming. But as far as our current situation goes, I think it's time to head back to ChatGPT to ask it what to do. Alright, so I've written a short prompt here. It just says the warriors reached the city, no barbarians are approaching yet. What should it do? The scout also needs to be moved. Let's see what it says. Okay, so I read through this, and it basically just says, because of the no immediate threat from barbarians, the warrior should move to the uncovered area towards the encampment, where we think the encampment is. And then the scout should move in the opposite direction of where the warrior is going, to the left, or where the map hasn't been explored yet. It also says to keep the current production and research. Okay, so first off, we're going to move the warrior, and it needs to move over to this right side. To maximize its movements, this river makes things hard. So we're either going to run it down around the bottom, like we did the scout, or maybe I'll move it to this top one. It'll reveal a tiny bit up here, then it'll have to take a 1-turn and jump over the river, but it's better than going over the 2 rivers. So let's do that. Not much up there, just another maze. And then the scout, it said to move away from where the warrior's moving. The warrior will move basically directly to the right. So I'm going to send the scout down first. It'll probably reveal coastline, and then I'm going to do a circle around the city. Alright, cool. We found a tribal village, so we'll pick that up with the scout next turn. There's a scout. I'm wondering if that's the same scout. It doesn't have the exclamation point, which means it was the one that discovered our city, or it already returned to the barbarian encampment. So I don't think we're gonna try and kill it or attack it unless it attacks us first, because we just want to keep moving our scout to explore. So next turn we'll see what happens. Oh boy, another scout from the left side, probably this encampment. That's not good at all. We need to keep producing units to defend ourselves. And now that it has an exclamation point saying that Barb spotted our city, so it is the same one. So let's move the warrior across and move the scout into the tribal village. Alright, discovered Hippolyta. She's pretty good. She's a pretty good hero for battle and attacking. She's really good at healing the units around her. So we can try and queue that up here soon. It's the only one. Ooh, and we discovered Void Singers. Interesting. I don't think we need to tell ChatGPT this yet. We're just going to keep exploring because we don't have a governor's title, and we're going to wait for the slinger to produce anyway. So we could switch to the monument, but I think it is more beneficial to finish the slinger. So we'll just keep doing that. Okay, turn 13. This left scout has now found our city, which is not good. It'll beeline to that encampment, and it'll start spawning units. And we have our first barbarian warrior in the fog, and so moving the scout might be a bit challenging, but it'll move down and to the left. So we should be okay. Let's move this warrior. We're going to move it down this way, because I think the encampment's down here, actually, so we need to get there. Yep, and because of the zone of control, it'll be difficult to move. I'm just not going to attack it. I'm not going to bother asking ChatGPT about that. We're just going to play it through.
I am Elizabeth,
Oh,
Queen
boy.
of Britannia, and only seek the most noble and stalwart allies.
Okay, so this is an interesting situation. We've met our first large civ, and so we should probably ask ChatGPT as a general rule what it wants to do when it meets other civilizations. Does it want to have a good meeting by choosing this option, or the bad meeting? That will decide our diplomacy. Okay, so first off, we're going to move the warrior, and it needs to move over to this right side. To maximize its movements, this river makes things hard. So we're either going to run it down around the bottom, like we did the scout, or maybe I'll move it to this top one. It'll reveal a tiny bit up here, then it'll have to take a one turn and jump over the river, but it's better than going over the two rivers. So let's do that. Not much up there, just another maze. And then the scout, it said to move away from where the warrior's moving. The warrior will move basically directly to the right. So I'm going to send the scout down first. It'll probably reveal coastline, and then I'm going to do a circle around the city. Alright, cool. So, we found a tribal village. We'll pick that up with the scout next turn. There's a scout. I'm wondering if that's the same scout. It doesn't have the exclamation point, which means it was the one that discovered our city, or it already returned to the barbarian encampment. So, I don't think we're gonna try and kill it or attack it unless it attacks us first, because we just want to keep moving our scout to explore. So, next turn we'll see what happens. Oh boy, another scout from the left side, probably this encampment. That's not good at all. We need to keep producing units to defend ourselves. And now that it has an exclamation point saying that Barb's spotted our city, so it is the same one. So let's move the warrior across and move the scout into the tribal village. Alright, discovered Hippolyta. She's pretty good. She's a pretty good hero for battle and attacking. She's really good at healing the units around her. So we can try and queue that up here soon. It's the only one. Ooh, and we discovered Void Singers. Interesting. I don't think we need to tell ChatGPT this yet. We're just going to keep exploring because we don't have a governor's title, and we're going to wait for the slinger to produce anyway. So we could switch to the monument, but I think it is more beneficial to finish the slinger. So we'll just keep doing that. Okay, turn 13. This left scout has now found our city, which is not good. It'll beeline to that encampment, and it'll start spawning units. And we have our first barbarian warrior in the fog, and so moving the scout might be a bit challenging, but it'll move down and to the left. So we should be okay. Let's move this warrior. We're going to move it down this way, because I think the encampment's down here, actually, so we need to get there. Yep, and because of the zone of control, it'll be difficult to move. I'm just not going to attack it. I'm not going to bother asking ChatGPT about that. We're just going to play it through.
I am Elizabeth,
Oh
Queen
boy.
of Britannia, and only seek the most noble and stalwart allies.
Okay, so this is an interesting situation. We've met our first large civ, and so we should probably ask ChatGPT as a general rule what it wants to do when it meets other civilizations. Does it want to have a good meeting by choosing this option, or the bad meeting? That will decide our diplomacy. Alright, so I've typed out a prompt here. A few uneventful turns have passed. The hero Hippolyta and the Void Singers were discovered. A new civilization was met. And when meeting new civs, what should the introductory action be?
No, Kevin. Mina dua. Spita.
Okay, so I read through its instructions. It basically says to choose the friendly greeting option and establish a positive relationship. And to use the diplomacy screen to learn their agenda. And it even says to monitor their agenda as the game continues. It says to send a delegation if possible, if I have enough gold, so we can do that. We should have enough gold for that. Check for potential trade opportunities. Don't think we have any now, but we'll keep looking for them in the future. It says to recruit Hippolyta. Use faith production of gold to recruit, if possible, to bolster military strength, which is true. It says to join the Void Singers, but we don't have a governor title. So, and I don't know if that'll be our strategy. We'll ask ChatGPT when that time comes, every time we get a governor title. So basically, just always when we meet a new civ, choose the friendly option, check the diplomacy screen, send a delegation, and explore trade opportunities. I like that option. We're going friendly, even though we're the Zulu. And then finally, it just says continue exploration and defense. So let's do that. Okay, so back here, we're going to pick the friendly option. And then we're...
It is not wisdom, but authority that makes a law.
Civics completed. So we'll go in and ask ChatGPT which ones it wants to queue up. But first, we'll check. Okay, so writing, we got the Eureka. Very good. So we'll go in here, send that delegation. Good, it went through. Let's just check, because it said to, what to trade, and nothing. But we do see it has another city. So it has 2 total cities, which is concerning, but it's fine for now. We can't do anything about it. So let's head over to ChatGPT. Mining is also going to finish next turn, so I'll ask about that. But mainly we're going to focus on what policies it wants to enact. I don't think we'll ask it about movement, because the scout, we're just going to keep moving down to the left, and the warrior, we will move towards this encampment, likely over here. Alright, so the prompt I've written says that the Code of Law Civic was completed. What policies should be added? The mining technology will also finish next turn. So what tech and civic should be queued? Alright, so basically the summary of what it says here. It says we should enact a military and economic policy, obviously. And it says to put in discipline and God King, which both make sense and are the normal ones we would play in the situation. Discipline gives us +5 combat strength, and God King, the faith in gold. And even says it will help us towards the Pantheon and to recruit heroes. As far as tech and civs go, it says to queue up animal husbandry and queue up foreign trade. Although it does give alternates, the final say is animal husbandry and foreign trade. So we'll put in discipline, God King, and then queue up animal husbandry and foreign trade. Discipline and God King. And then the civic tree, we're going to queue up foreign trade. Each 18 turns, but I guess they're both 18. We need to improve our culture per turn. We'll do that by getting a monument. But we got to finish this slinger first, which will complete next turn. So we'll have to ask ChatGPT what it wants to do. Movement. Let's move the scout. Looks like that warrior chased the scout. There's not much to explore down here because it's just coastline, so I'm going to move it that way. And then the warrior will move onto the hills. Ooh, and it revealed another warrior. So we'll hit next turn, and our slinger.
Who deserves more credit than the wife of a coal miner?
So we already know to queue up animal husbandry, to reveal horses, and to prepare for archery. Where would horses spawn? Here, 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 and over here. The hard part for ChatGPT would be to place districts, I'm seeing. Eventually I'm going to have to ask it when and where it would like to place a certain type of district, because as we unlock them, we'll have to queue them up in our production. But we'll do that when the time comes. First and foremost, we need to ask ChatGPT what it wants to produce. And now that our warrior can enter combat, we're going to ask it a generic, what does it want to do with the combat? I'm not going to ask it during wars every single move it should make. I'm going to try and make just the best moves that I can see, and I just want a general plan of what it wants to do. And in this kind of situation, my own warrior on hills, attacking a warrior on hills, probably not the best move. My warrior has less combat strength, so we'll ask ChatGPT as a general idea what it wants to do during wars. And then I'll just try and make the best judgment calls based off what it says as part of attacking. Because I am expecting wars to come, because we are the Zulu. It's a very warlike type civilization, and our unique district is a replacement for the encampment anyway. So we're going to have to keep that in mind. Let's head back over to ChatGPT and see what it wants to do as far as movement and queuing up production. Alright, so here's the prompt. The slinger production finish. What should be queued? The warriors close enough to barbarians to enter combat. What are the ideal actions for attacking and defending? Should these actions always be taken during combat? This response is very interesting, and I kind of disagree with what it's saying here. So, as part of the production, it says to queue up a builder to improve our nearby resources. I don't know if this is the best choice. While a builder is a valid choice, a better option would probably be a settler or another military unit. If it were deity, I would for sure queue up another military unit. It's not deity, so I would probably queue up a settler to settle our second city as fast as possible. A builder works, and we're going to queue that up because it says, but I don't think it's the best move in this situation. But moving on, as far as combat goes, it says to assess the terrain and try and attack from defensive positions, try and stay in defensive positions, avoid open terrain. It does say to take a first strike, so we're going to take an attack this turn, that attack that I showed, and then just basically monitor health, watch for healing opportunities, and then retreat if outnumbered. Okay, that's good advice. Engage from defensive terrain. Use the slinger for support. Okay, so we'll move the slinger towards it. It did say talk about flanking and support here. Then we're going to attack the barbarian unit. That's very interesting advice. We're going to take it and see where it goes. Back in the game, first off, let's queue up that builder. It will take 10 turns. There's no real good places to move citizens. They're already on the best tiles to work. We just have a low production city. So I guess a builder in this situation will be good to get these quarries up, I guess, or get some farms up. I would have still picked the settler just to get the second city down, get it going, and then go a builder next. But let's get that builder in. 10-turn builder. And I would also probably would have waited for the civic in craftsmanship, where builders get produced faster. Okay, so next, let's move the scout. Ooh, it can move 3 tiles. Let's move it first to here and then down south more. I think I will go south a little ways and then circle back up. And then let's move this warrior. It did say to attack. It said to take the first strike, so we will. That actually did really well, 27 to 38, so that was a pretty good attack. The slinger needs to move. I think I will make it take the same path as the warrior took. So first north and then across the river and then back down. Okay, so here's the next turn. We are being outnumbered here. So as far as the ChatGPT instructions were given, I will fortify this warrior in place because barbarians don't heal. Fortify him, he'll regain health. He will probably get outnumbered and flanked himself. So hopefully the slinger will get there in time. This scout, well, it does know where our city is and will go back to the encampment. We will need to deal with him eventually. So let's keep moving here. The scout, I'm going to move one more turn this way, down south, just to see what's there. Okay, so that's the bottom of the map, we know, because of the tundra. That's interesting and good. We need to find out where England was. Its unit was over here in this area, so I'm guessing it came from the left. I guess it could have come from the northeast. It would have had to gone through the barbarian encampment. So we will move the scout to the west now to see what's over here in this desert. Can't quite tell what that name is. That usually will give us a hint of what civ is over there based off whatever the name is. For example, if it says like the Mojave Desert, it would be America, or whatever the name for a desert inside a certain country, we would have a hint at whatever the civilization is over there. That's a tip, by the way. Because we discovered this mountain, it has an African name of the Zulu culture. Greenlee Loch? I'm gonna pronounce that as Loch. Log? I don't know if that came from Singapore naming it, or if it was from England naming it. Because they scouted it first. This river, Limpopo River, I don't recognize what civ that would be from. So the slinger needs movement, and like I said, we're going to move it across the river. So before I start these next turns, I don't think much is going to happen. And if it does, I'll stop. But I'm going to try doing a time lapse of combat, of scout movements. It'll be at least 3 turns when animal husbandry finishes. Here we go.
Yosemite Valley to me is always so nice. I guess a green and golden wonder in a fast-paced stone space.
Yosemite natural wonder, so we can return as fast as possible. That's a great natural wonder, and that's a very important for us. And boost the ecology. We'll let ChatGPT know that soon.
If there are no dogs in heaven, they might die. I was aware they went.
So we finished the animal husbandry research, and we're at an interesting point in this combat where we've kind of been surrounded. The slinger will probably be attacked, but the warrior has regained enough health that it can make another attack. We also need to move this scout. We're going to keep moving it based off ChatGPT's initial instructions. We'll just let it know that the scout found Yosemite. And there's the English warrior, so I would assume that England lies to our west, but we'll scout that out next with this scout. Let's head to ChatGPT, ask it what it wants for technology, and I'll just tell it that the slinger has reached the combat as well and is in danger of being attacked, but the warrior can attack again. And I'm going to try and follow all of its instructions it gives now based off that general instructions for combat and any other specific cases like this that I might ask it. Okay, so a simple prompt here, and I realized I probably don't need to make this type of prompt in the future because of our situation with the scout and warrior. The barbarian warrior is in undefended terrain, so we could easily attack him and we'd probably be okay. So in the future, I probably won't make this type because of that judgment call that I would make by myself. But I wanted to let it know about Yosemite, and then just to see if it would say anything different about this combat situation. Alright, so the response here is kind of interesting. It gave me 2 options, and I'm supposed to pick which one I prefer. They both say the same thing. This one on the left is just kind of a more concise, it's very short, and this one gives a more detailed explanation. They both say the same thing, basically saying discovered Yosemite and that the warrior and slinger are in this combat situation. They both say protect the slinger, so the slinger can retreat to a safe position. I think I'm going to use it to attack, though. Make its attack and then the scout. So then note the strategic importance. So retreat if necessary. Continue exploration. It says to move the slinger, though, while still attacking. Slingers don't really do that. They have such a short attack range that not only does it take their full movement, but they can only attack within 1 tile radius. So this is the only point where it says to attack if possible. It says to move to safety, so attack if safe, target the same barbarian unit. Okay, so there we go. Coordinated attacks will more effectively neutralize the threat. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Yes, attack the barbarian unit, and then to just keep exploring with the scout. Okay, so I also forgot that animal husbandry finished. So we need to go back and ask what it wants to start working. And I think I'll ask it for what the next one should be, as well as the next 2 to queue up. And then I'll queue them up, and then only if something very significant changes, because we already found a natural wonder, we already met a civilization. We're not going to found a city on a coast anytime soon. We probably won't farm a resource quite yet until we are building a builder, but we'll see. We'll try and kill a unit with a slinger to get that boost. But other than that, we will probably build a quarry, but we'll ask ChatGPT what it wants to do with the 3 builder charges of the builder once it is produced. Okay, so another short prompt here, just saying animal husbandry tech finished, what should be queued, and then I'm asking what 2 technologies should be researched after, and I'm even going to ask, should those be completed or switched before completion? Alright, so I've read through this, and it seems very economic focused. So it says animal husbandry completed, choosing next technologies. Recommended next technology, irrigation allows you to improve the maize and cotton. True, so we can queue that up. Then it says archery and the wheel. Archery is good because of our current military situation, but we don't have the boost for it yet. We don't have the boost for irrigation. And the third one it says is the wheel. We don't have the boost for that either, which is completing a mine, I believe. I don't think we're even going to be able to do that. These 3 I would not pick. I would pick one that we have a boost for. I would pick either the Holy Site District Tech or the Campus Tech, because we have the boosts for those. And then I would probably pick archery just for defense as well. Queue archery 3rd unless you get the slinger kill, then switch it in immediately just to get archers out. And I would have queued up the Campus District Tech and then the Holy Site Tech. While irrigation and wheel are good, and we will probably get irrigation sooner than I usually get it in my games because of our amazing cotton, to me it's just not as good, and I wait for the boosts for all of these techs, which we don't have in this game yet. But we will follow what ChatGPT says here and queue up irrigation, archery, and the wheel. Alright, so irrigation, archery, and the wheel are queued up. I'm going to start another time lapse to continue exploring with the scout, and we will run this combat with the slinger and warrior, and then as part of the time lapse we'll just keep exploring, and I'll follow ChatGPT's instructions, staying on defensive terrain, attacking when I can down, but I will also just use my own intuition to know when to heal the warrior and then to make some attacks. So here we go.
One eternity later.
Okay, so a few things have happened during that time lapse. England sent us a delegation. We asked ChatGPT if we should accept, and ChatGPT said in the early game, just basically generally always accept, and then the mid to late game assess the situation. So we'll probably go back later and have to ask ChatGPT. We discovered London and moved our scout through their lands. I had forgotten to send the Arabian Empire a delegation, so I tried to send that. They didn't accept, which is probably not good because it means they're more unfriendly towards us. But England looks like they have a good relationship towards us, so I'm not worried about them. We explored and moved our warrior and slinger more to the right and discovered our close barbarian encampment, and then I healed our warrior for 2 turns, and now we're going to move him in. But I'm going to ask in my next prompt whether we should just straight up clear that encampment, or if we should spend gold at one of its options in here, if we should wait, if we should raid it. what should be done about that. Tell it that there's a slinger attacking our city, and also that our builder has completed and what to do with that, and what to queue up for our next production. Irrigation will finish in 4 turns, foreign trade in 7 turns. Let's head to ChatGPT. Alright, so there's the prompt asking it about the encampment. I am giving it options. Raid it, clear it, buy a unit from it. I'm also asking what we should do with the builder and its recharges, and what should be queued for production next. Alright, so once again, I don't agree with everything it says here, but a lot of it I do agree with. So, dealing with the barbarian encampment, it gives us 2 options to clear it or raid or buy, and it explains why to do each one. The builder actions: improve the stone maze and then scout for horses. Inside of our city range, there are no horses. There are some if we were to settle a city a little ways away, but none within our first city's range. So because there are no horses in the first city's range, I just asked it what should the 3rd charge be used for. Improve the rice, construct a mine. So 1st charge quarry, 2nd charge farm, 3rd charge farm again. And then back up to what it said up here. The next production is a settler. Good. That is what it should be, that we need to get that next city up. We need to secure land. Because of our new neighborship that we found, Arabia, they are more aggressive, and because I forgot to send the delegation, they might be looking for a fight to come and attack us, so we need to secure land. We also have England not too far away that we need to secure land that direction as well. So here's our first 3 charges, and we'll queue up the settler. Here in the game, we might have a problem with this slinger, so moving this builder would probably be dangerous, but we'll move it onto the quarry and build it. That gives us the boost for masonry and gives us more production. So we definitely need to be working that tile, and I'm going to lock it in. So we'll queue up our settler. We still don't have a monument, which is hurting our culture. Pingala is helping with that a little bit, but if we got the monument, it would help even more. Settler will take 14 turns to finish. We'll move our scout. I'm going to keep moving to the north and a little bit to the west as well. We want to head up and scout Cairo, see if there's any armies incoming. It said to move and raid, straight up raid. That is where I disagree. I think the best course of action would be first buy a warrior, because that would defend us from this. And I think I'm going to do that anyway. We have the gold for it. It will defend us from this slinger. Go ahead and attack that anyway. And then we can move in, and then it will either raid it or we can remove it. If it were me, because there's no units around, just that one scout we saw over here, I would raid it. It will spawn an enemy, but we'll get gold from it. We're able to defend. Our warrior has full health. We can hit it with the slinger. I would raid it, get some gold, and then kill that unit, which normally helps us with the bronze working tech, but we already have that from killing barbarians. So we don't need to kill it for the boost, but you can. It's a good strategy for killing it if you needed another kill. You could keep raiding and killing barbarians to farm the gold and to get that boost if you needed it. Alright, so I'm going to start another time lapse here. We'll go until something major happens that I need to ask ChatGPT about. That won't be just a simple question I would plug in. Alright, so here's our major decision we need to make. Changing policies because of our recent completion of foreign trade. If it were me, We definitely keep God King in. We are not fighting barbarians, so I'd switch one of these two in. But we'll ask ChatGPT. Okay, so as part of this prompt, I took the time to write in a bunch of information that we learned. Our encampment was cleared, and the warrior slinger moving back to the city. Another civ cleared the eastern or left encampment, but another was discovered to the northeast. And the Arabian civ was met. Foreign trade civ completed. So I'm asking, should policies be changed and what should be queued? I might add it in there what we should use our gold for. So, interesting instructions here. It basically just said cleared the encampments, met Arabia, completed the civic. So it says to replace God King with caravanseries, not changing the military policy card, to queue our next production of a trader, or to use our gold to purchase a trader, upgrade units, or save for future purposes. But in the end, it says replace God King with caravanseries, produce a trader. I don't think the settler's quite ready yet, but we can queue that up. I think the better use of our gold would be to purchase a trader. So we'll do that with our gold right now if we have enough. Let's take a look. So it wants to replace God King with caravanseries. Okay, I have the extended policy cards that'll tell us what yields we get. We don't get anything from this. We'll try and buy a trader, but I don't see much use for this right now. It would be better to keep God King in to get the Pantheon, or switch to urban planning for more production. But it's ChatGPT, we'll let it do its thing. As far as production goes, the setter will take 7 turns. We can queue up a trader, which will take 8, or add it to the queue. Let's see how much it costs. The trader costs 185, we have 134. When I was clearing this encampment, I checked to see how much we'd get if we raid it. We would have gotten 35 gold, which would basically be enough to get us a trader. It would be really close. We could spend our gold also getting a warrior. It didn't want that. We already bought a warrior, so we are going to hold off. We're going to save for a trader and buy that as soon as we have enough gold. It will take us about 4 turns to have enough gold based off our 9 gold per turn. But as soon as we have enough, in about 4 turns, we will buy that trader. We have completed archery and foreign trade, so we do need to queue up a new civic. I'll quickly ask ChatGPT what it wants for that. But the next technology is the wheel. We already have queued that up. I don't know why. It will take the full 14 turns with no boost. We could easily queue up writing or astrology to get the campus or holy site districts, or we could queue up bronze working for the Akanda, or we could even go for masonry for walls or for battering rams. I simply asked ChatGPT here what civics should be queued and what 2 civics should be queued after. Political philosophy, early empire, diplomatic service. Pretty good choices. Let's go add those in. So it said to queue up political philosophy, early empire, and then all the way over here, diplomatic service. Okay. Not sure what that's about, but we can queue it up. That seems like a lot. I guess for now we'll queue it up. We do need craftsmanship. It's going to completely skip the military line up here. We don't even have flanking support combat bonuses yet. We won't get mysticism. Kind of an interesting thing to suggest. I understand the political philosophy, and we get early empire before that. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. We have gotten the boost for craftsmanship, so I agree that should be our next one. We should try for the boosts to these ones, but I don't know if ChatGPT is smart enough to go for those, because we could have been going for a specialty district to get the boost on this one. We are growing, getting close-ish to 6 population. The settler will delay us. We probably won't get that one very soon. We can delay that one a tiny bit, but we need to get it eventually. I'm not sure what ChatGPT is doing there. I'm going to start another time lapse here, and if anything important comes up, I'll stop it. Okay, so here we are on turn 35. A few things have happened. First off, we met the Mayan Empire. I both sent a delegation and received a delegation from them. I went to the deal screen and bought diamonds from them for gold. I feel like that's a worthwhile trade. It will increase our happiness. But the major thing that's happening right now, there are 4 Arabian warriors right on our border. We need to ask ChatGPT what to do in this situation. I'll let it know that we have met the Mayans, and then let it know about a possible incoming war. They are unfriendly towards us and dropping in their relationship status. If we check on here, we can try sending another delegation. I knew they wouldn't accept, but their agenda here shows they like civilizations that have founded a religion but not brought one to one of his cities. We haven't gotten a religion yet, and it doesn't seem like ChatGPT is even interested in getting one. They have a hidden agenda that we can't see yet. If we check the religion screen, we don't even have enough faith for a pantheon, and we switched out God King. I don't even think we can see if there's religions being created. We can check on here. Arabia doesn't have a religion yet, neither does the Mayans, neither does the English. It's a bit early, but not impossible to have one. The English, I noticed, have gotten a holy site and have settled Yosemite. Nothing else much we can see from Arabia or the Mayans other than a couple farms up here. So I think we'll leave it there for today. As part of the beginning of next episode, we'll ask ChatGPT what we're going to do about this situation. There's a few things that, as a player, we could do. We could try bribing Arabia by sending him some gold. We could try just buying stuff from him to add a trade deal. We can try declaring friendship. He probably won't do that. There aren't any demands that we can make. Or we could try non-diplomatic means. We move our army into position. We change our production, we change our techs to prepare for this. So that will be our first prompt at the beginning of next episode. Thank you for watching and making it to the end of the video. I'd appreciate a like if you have been enjoying so far. I'm trying to improve every episode, both with editing and gameplay and diversifying content. But thank you again for watching, and see you in the next one. Hey guys, welcome back to the series of ChatGPT Plays Civ 6. I'm Runner King, and this is our game. Remember, we're playing as Shaka, the Zulu Empire. We have 1 city down with a settler being produced in 4 turns. We have this Arabian army that looks to be approaching. I did remember that they cleared this encampment that was here before, so hopefully they're just coming down for that. But we're about to ask ChatGPT what to do about that. Remember, we asked ChatGPT to queue up 3 techs. It picked irrigation, archery, and the wheel. So hopefully we can get something good with the wheel. As part of my next prompt, I'm going to tell it, remember, that we have some techs boosted and ready to research. Something interesting that happened last episode was that we asked ChatGPT what 3 civics to queue up, and it picked early empire, political philosophy, which are great, but then it picked diplomatic service. So we clicked on it all the way over here to get queued up, but we will likely change that. I'll ask ChatGPT probably when we finish political philosophy what it wants to do, if it wants to switch or keep going, because we'll likely start if we enter a war here, we'll need to switch, especially be needing to switch our techs. We are falling behind a little bit behind the AI. We only have 6 science per turn and 3 culture per turn. It would be good to probably spend our gold buying a monument. That would be a good use of it. It's 240, so it would take a few more turns. We might be able to get some gold if we sell some stuff to the AI, but we gotta accumulate stuff first. We'll likely do that by using the settler to claim these marbles, or possibly get a city up here on the coast. We'll do some more exploring with the scout and this warrior. Scout's up here exploring, so that's pretty good. We might have the scout do a loop around here and explore this northern part of our territory. We explored the English Empire pretty well, and the Arabians a little bit. We're headed up to take a look at the Mayans just to see what they're doing. We might have to switch production focus here to military. I would finish this settler and either take it up here to the north or down here to get these marbles. But I think as part of the prompt for this settler, I'm just going to say I've identified 3 settling spots, probably like right here-ish. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd say right there for one spot. It will hit the cotton, and then it will eventually go to the copper and horses as well. It's on fresh water, and there's decent areas that we can put some districts down. I'd say we should probably try and get one up here to the north. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe right there on the maze. We'll have to take a look at what's up here. Looks like there's another river over here if we want to settle on fresh water over here. And then we probably just want to claim this area down here so that England stops expanding. This river looks really nice. Got some nice wheat over there for some growth. We also need to push north and claim some of this area with cities. So let's head to ChatGPT and write up a prompt and letting it know about this incoming army and just ask what it wants to do with that. Alright, so just a simple prompt here. The Arabian city brought 4 warriors towards us to clear a barbarian encampment, but also look to be approaching our city. Is this concerning? Should anything be done? All it says is check the diplomatic status and monitor the movements, which is true. We should take a turn or two just to see if they're moving closer or not. So reinforce our defenses, move warriors in Göbekli city, okay, good, that's where they are. Produce additional military units. So I think we'll do that after the settler is produced. And in 4 turns, position scouts strategically to keep an eye on other Arabian units. Okay, that's interesting. Send a delegation or establish trade. We'll look at that. I don't think I'll be able to, but we can try. Check for alliances. We don't have alliances ready yet, but we can even check for city-state alliances. That's a good point. So we'll take a look at these 3 things. Alright, so back in the game. We'll move the scout. It said to move it to check to see if any reinforcement armies are on their way. So instead of swinging around down here, we're going to move this way. Alright, we can see they have another warrior coming down. This warrior, I think we will just take a defensive position right here. This one will garrison in the city. And this slinger I think we'll keep right there. As part of my next prompt, I'm going to ask if we should upgrade it to an archer to spend the gold, or if we should save the gold for something like a monument. For now, we'll fortify it, because we can always come back to that later. We'll hit the next turn to see what happens with these 4 warriors. So they did move closer, and we saw that this warrior moved down. So I do think a war is coming. So we're going to follow ChatGPT's advice, try and send a delegation. They can accept. What deal can we make? We could try buying their Diplo favor. Let's see if we can buy it all. For 2 gold.
Money!
Alright, we'll do that. And then another trick we can do is giving them a gift. I don't want to give them all my gold though. So let's just send them a gift of like 50 gold. It's still a lot, still gonna hurt us, but it should improve the relations a bit. So it looks like that went through immediately. I didn't check before, but their relationship with me went up. If that's all that's going to avoid this war, that's great. So let's go next turn, see what's going to happen. Move this scout again. Not a great move on my part. Fortify that there. So the warriors didn't even move, which is interesting. They didn't move at all. We do want to move this scout to see if that warrior moved. Ooh, they have a settler on the way. If they didn't have these warriors here, it would be worth declaring war just to steal the settler. But we'd probably lose. Just oh, never mind. Surprise war. Alright. War is incoming. So we got the boost for defensive tactics for the declaration of war on us. We need to keep doing craftsmanship. But with this declaration of war, ChatGPT might want to change some stuff up. As far as city-states go, Vilnius has declared war on us because the Arabian Empire is the suzerain. Let's take a look at what quests they want. Construct a preserve, we probably can't do. Train a heavy chariot, which, interestingly enough, we are researching. Probably won't be able to mine a resource to get the boost, so that'll take a while. Alright, before I do anything else, I'm going to head to ChatGPT and give it this new information. Okay, so I tried to put as much information into this prompt as I can. This one says Arabia declared a surprise war. 1 turn left on the settler production, 8 turns left on the wheel technology, 4 left on the craftsmanship civic. There's 111 gold. What should be done? And I'm trying to make this prompt as vague, as open as possible so that we can get any kind of response from ChatGPT. Here we go. So I read through this, and what it says is pretty good, and I should let it know that we can upgrade the slinger to an archer. But other than that, what it says is to complete the settler production, okay, good, and then move and protect the settler, then to queue up another archer or warrior. We can do all that, all great stuff. Use gold for emergency unit purchase. So basically just save for defensive unit. Position warrior slinger strategically for defense. We've done that. Fortify and delay. Fortify the warrior to delay. We've done that, so it's on the right track. Medium turn strategy. So continue at the will for the watermill bonus, access to chariots. And then finish craftsmanship for production boost from Magog. Okay. I think that's a good plan. I don't think we should finish the wheel. I think we should switch to something else. Probably for the encampment, head down the lower track for better units. But it says to make a policy change to Agog. Perfect, we can do that. Simply just complete the settler and start producing archer warrior. So next turn, I'll write another prompt, which one it wants to produce, and if it wants to upgrade the slinger to an archer. But for now, let's take our turn following these instructions. Remember, there are these 4 warriors, and they've surrounded our 1 warrior. He's on a really good defensive position. He can survive another turn. I think from all 4 attacks he can survive, and that should get him an upgrade. He has a hit that'll easily get him a promotion. So we're going to heal and fortify. With that heal, he'll for sure get there. We'll let this finish. There's not much of a better position that this warrior can be in, so we'll leave him for now and just run our next turn. I'm going to see if that settler came down this way. Unfortunately, we can't move very far with our scout. What would happen if we were to attack? That's not a bad attack. The only combat bonus, it might be worth it just to attack the city with the scout to feel like he's being attacked, to pull back units, and to get a favorable peace deal with him once we've dealt with these guys. So I think we're going to take a step this way to see if the settler's down here to possibly steal, and if not, I'm going to come back and try and hit the city. Ooh. Okay, I was wrong. So our warrior did not survive, but our settler finished. So I think as part of our prompt right now, we'll ask it if we should upgrade the slinger, where we should settle, and what we should queue up, an archer or warrior here. Either of them is good, but I'll tell it it'll take 6 turns for the warrior and 10 turns for the archer. Okay, so it gives good advice. Upgrade the slinger, which I would expect to happen. Archers have better range and a higher combat score. Queue up a warrior, okay, so that's the decision it wants. Settler safety, assess the risk. Basically, it just says to wait with the settler inside the city and then move it once the immediate threat is neutralized, and then to escort it with the warrior as well. So we're going to do that. If it were me just playing the game, I would wait a turn or two just to make sure we're okay, and then I would not move it escorted because that would leave our city too undefended, or I would wait until we have another warrior to escort it. Right now the warrior's in a defensive position. It's inside the city, which isn't on a hill or better terrain, but it gives the city higher defensive scores, so we're still going to keep it there. So other than that, just says upgrade the slinger to an archer, queue up a warrior, and then keep the settler within the city until the area is secure, then escort it once the immediate threat is neutralized. Okay, so let's queue up that warrior. It'll take 6 turns. Let me see if I can change around the production to make it go faster. I think we should keep these. They're high yield tiles. We're growing really fast with them. And then this is our best production tile. We don't really have any others that this citizen can move to that will be better than what it's already doing. Unless we can grow to one of these two over here, we're going to keep it there. So we'll keep the settler here in the city for the next turn. We're going to upgrade the slinger to an archer. That'll help with defending the city. And then with our scout, we're going to move it. Ooh, it would be really good to capture that builder. So I'm going to move it here. And there's that settler also. Okay, so our scout got hit by the villainous city, and the builder moved back into the city. So we're going to head over here, see if we can't get eyes on that settler. Okay, it's right there. It will likely move to one of these 2 tiles. So we'll move down again. We might get hit with that warrior, but at least we know it's there now. We can see 5 warriors, and they are starting to hit our city. So we can use the archer to attack now. I'm going to write a simple prompt that I'm not going to show, but I'll just ask it how we should attack with our archer. Okay, so I asked ChatGPT how it wants it to attack. It said to keep the warrior and settler inside the city with the warrior fortified. The archer, it wants to attack either the closest or weakest. In this case, it's both, so we'll attack this guy. It actually said to first attack the slinger, but it's not within range, so we can't do that. We're going to move this scout. It's getting hit with a chariot now, but we're going to take this settler. It won't be able to get hits. We're going to see if we can escape. Looks like the combat score went up, so they finished a unit in this city. So we might not be able to squeak through, but we're going to try just an escape through here. Another thing that ChatGPT said as part of this prompt is to seek diplomatic relations with other civs. So we're going to talk to both of these civs and see if they've met the Arabian Empire. So the Mayans have the option to go to war. And we can do it if we just give them gold. Usually you can just send 1 gold. Ooh, it doesn't work that time. But we can do it for 6 gold and 10. That's not really worth it right now. We'll give it another turn to see if that'll change. But we'll talk to the English Empire right now. Looks like they can't go to war anyway. Okay, so for some reason we can't get Elizabeth, the English Empire, into this war. There's an offer blocking the deal. They're probably friends, is what it is, which kind of sucks. We'd like them to join. Let's see if we can buy open borders. Costing 11 gold. We can wait until we also can give up our borders to them. So unfortunately, we can either spend all our gold, basically, to get the mines into the war, or we can't get any more help. We haven't met enough city-states, and their quests we can't do quite yet. But luckily, craftsmanship finishes next turn, so we can plug in a GOG to get our military producing faster. It'll go from 4 to 2 turns on this. And then we can pump out some more military. But we gotta survive that long.
Skill without imagination is craftsmanship, and gives us many useful objects.
Okay, so we finished craftsmanship, so we're going to plug in a GOG right now. This would help, plugging in God King to get a Pantheon. Also urban planning would help. It didn't tell us to change it. But either of those 2 should be plugged in. God King should have been plugged in, and right now we should have been able to switch in urban planning. We should have gotten our Pantheon right now to be able to switch in urban planning. But ChatGPT said to plug in caravanseries, and it hasn't said to switch it out, so we're going to keep it there. We will likely lose this city next turn and lose the game. I think that one mistake hurt a lot. It wasn't the worst thing. We're going to fight out this last turn, but I don't think we will be able to make it much farther than this. I don't even think we should take the promotion on this archer. We should try and hit this guy, because I think he'll die. This guy isn't strong enough to attack the city, so only these two are, which is still probably enough to take the city. So we're probably going to lose this turn. There were some mistakes that ChatGPT made. I think we should have researched either astrology, writing, or bronze working to get any one of these 3 districts out. Even finding iron would have helped us. Unfortunately, as far as civics go, we did the best we could. We're going to start early empire, and it's going to take 28 turns. Because I'm at war, I would have switched into military tradition. It'll still take 12 turns, but the flanking bonus would help a little bit. So we'll play out this turn. We did successfully take the settler, and we're going to keep moving it away. We'll see if we can escape with that. It's not going to do us much good if we can't survive this next turn. So here we go. We're going to follow ChatGPT's instructions to take out either the weakest or closest. I think we can hit and destroy this one, this closest one. Good, we got it. This one should destroy itself on the city and not do much damage, so I'm worried about these two. If we were to attack outside, it probably would help, so I think I will. I'll attack with this warrior. It shouldn't lower our combat score, but it will lower the health and reduce his effectiveness against the city. Okay, I'm going to hit next turn, and we're going to see if we lost. Alright, and as you can see,
From the dust,
ChatGPT cannot play Civ 6. That was an unfortunate game. Arabia came to attack us very early and very quickly and very hard. It's unlikely if even a player could survive that, but ChatGPT made a couple mistakes. Its choices of technology and policies to plug in were horrible. It told us to make a builder instead of settler or another unit or something, and its choice of civic was strange, but it ultimately didn't matter. The game was all around strange because in the beginning it told us to pick Shaka of the Zulu because it's a warlike civ, but then it didn't use Shaka's abilities at all. We should have tried to go for the encampment, its unique district, and to start early war, or we should have picked a more economic or religious or scientific civ to play into the strengths of that civ. It's a very interesting game. I'm excited to start something else. So let me know if you guys want to see another series with a different leader, trying again with ChatGPT to see if we can win the game. Just taking a look quick at the graphs here. We're this orange. We constructed 0 buildings, while we can actually look and see what the other civs were. So we had met English, looks like Greece is in it, Australia, Portugal, Tamiris, I can't remember the name of the first civ, the Mayans, Arabia, and then a bunch of city-states. The graph on here that's usually funny to see, but doesn't even look like it exists on here, is the total religions founded. So it looks like no one even founded a religion. So we can take a look at the faith. We accumulated almost 0 faith because of the bad policy decision of the AI. We should have kept God King in longer to get our pantheon. But it looks like Tamiris actually started earning a ton of faith. So she probably had a holy site or 2. This was probably the first holy site construction, and probably looks like a second one. Greece also looks like it had a holy site, so they were getting lots of faith. Another good one to look at is science. Looks like Australia was taking off, so it had probably at least one campus district built. Our science was pretty pathetic the entire game. Number of combats is interesting. We're definitely on the high end of that, as well as the Arabians, and we're the only one with a city lost. That's embarrassing and pathetic. We did have a high amount of units killed because of our war. We didn't get to found our second city, even though we had stolen a settler and produced one. Our gold amount, we spent it a couple times. I felt like our use of the gold, we did our best. We weren't accumulating very much, so we did what we could with it. And ultimately, if we would have paid the Mayans to get in the war, it wouldn't have mattered, because we were dead in about 3 turns. We were playing with the Extreme Eras mode, which was interesting. We didn't get to see it because we didn't make it out of the Ancient Era. but we didn't even make that much era score. Who Tamiris looks like was making a ton of era score. As far as wars declared, looks like Greece actually declared war on someone, which was Portugal. Looks like only 2 wonders were completed. The Mayans got one, and Tamiris 3 wonders. Looks like the Australians got one as well. And finally, player score. We were below score the entire game. I feel like that's pretty normal. Through 40 turns, you're usually below score before you start hitting the ramp to accelerate and exponentially grow. Tamiris looks like she was running away with the game, though. Not far behind was the Australians, which are both powerful civs. Anyways, thanks for watching this series, this episode. It's a short one because we got invaded and taken over very quickly by the Arabian Empire. I don't fully feel like it was ChatGPT's fault. That was a very successful attack by the Arabians, very hard to defend anyway, even by a human player. Though ChatGPT did make early mistakes that could have helped prevent or to be in a better position for this war. I guess me, myself, as a human, made a mistake in that when we met the Arabians, I forgot to send them a delegation, which hurt our relationship. And because they are an aggressive warlike civ anyway, they came straight for me and attacked. I'll go ahead and leave that here for now then. Thanks again for watching. Please let me know if you have any suggestions as far as editing or recording goes. I'm going to continue making videos. I think I have a great idea for a next series that's coming up. Let me know if you want to see a rerun of this series, either with the same leader or different leader, having ChatGPT play the game. I'm thinking about inputting screenshots of the game or playing exactly word for word what ChatGPT tells me to do, or to ultimately change some settings to make the game a bit easier, or see what difficulty realistically ChatGPT could handle. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.